I want to thank you all very much for coming today. My name is C.R. Nelson. I am a city council member for the city of Andover, and we also have the fire chief Chad Russell, who has spearheaded this whole event today, and it's a wonderful thing. I just have a few comments to make at the beginning. First of all, this is a training session that is part of a public-private partnership between the fine folks at Westar Energy and the city of Andover. And we have here in the crowd here is we have Bridget Bowman, who is in charge of Westar, has been very instrumental in putting all this together. You may recall about 25 years ago, April 26, 1991 was the tornado that did a lot of damage, caused a few deaths, a lot of destruction. And because Kansas is primarily a light construction area, we need to have the first responders know what they're doing, saving lives and so forth. And this training, thanks to Westar and the city, has been delivered by Midwest Search and Rescue Inc. that are also here this evening, today. And as you know, that's a 501c3 and nonprofit organization, and their training is really second to none. The training involves two 12-hour sessions. I don't know if that's possible, but it is. They have an evening session for classroom, and then they have a hands-on situation that you see in the acreage behind us here. The training focuses on the initial search and rescue operations by the first responders after a large-scale disaster such as a tornado. The instructors that are training these courses have extensive background in the technical rescue and the real-world experience in disaster crises. And they say that the training involves three categories: the initial search and rescue operation, the victim access and removal, and the shoring and stabilization of buildings and so forth. And you will see when you tour the area that all three of them are now under construction, and they hopefully will be able to demonstrate everything that needs to be done. And the chief here probably has a few additional items to tell you about what you're about to experience. But we thank you very much for being here today, and we're all going to learn something new and different. Thank you.
25 years ago, what was the process and how has it changed to today? Is that what this training is all about? Getting more up to date, or just reinstating the fact that you have changed things from the way it was?
25 years ago, I just by accident happened to be in Andover. I was actually playing in a golf tournament at Teradyne, and I was the MC of that tournament. The tournament was substantially over. We were announcing the prizes and so forth, and we had somebody come and tell me that we had a tornado, and all the volunteers that could go to the city and help out. Those that couldn't needed to stay and help some other folks, and it was a pure panic situation. And I'm not sure that anybody had a handle on that day. We had some miraculous people involved. They did some wonderful things, but the organization is nowhere close to what's happening today. And I think that today's 25 years later, we are much better prepared, and this hands-on experience by the first responders is the finest thing that we will have ever done. So that we appreciate.
How important is it for you as a city council member and the city of Andover to have this type of training to be able to respond in the best way possible?
Well, obviously it's very important, but we have to totally rely upon the first responders, that I'm going to say the fire and the police are the first on site. And every day that we talk with them, and I meet with the fire department on a regular basis, it's the big picture that they're most interested in. And this is something that they've put on. They've decided to do this, and with the wonderful folks at Westar that are really financing this whole event, which we sincerely appreciate, they're able to get into the details and the hands-on and figure out, they have new technology that never had 25 years ago. And you'll see demonstrated out there some wounded bodies and so forth that have to be located electronically. We'll see if they can do that. My guess is I would flunk, but I'm guessing that the firefighters will figure out how to get that done.
When people watch this story tonight, what do you hope the takeaway message is?
I hope that the message is that everybody, number one, that we care about what happened in 1991, that we hope it never happens again, and as a disaster occurs, with people working together, great things can happen. The better we can prepare for something, the less severe that it might be. And if we can save one life that we couldn't save earlier, we've done our job well, and that we would really appreciate.
Do you have any personal memories from 25 years ago, anything vivid that sticks out in your mind?
I probably am very embarrassed about all that because I was unable to go to the city to help, but it was amazing how many golfers essentially walked from Teradyne to the city, which is a mile, and so we were there for hours, and they would eventually come back one by one, and they could hardly express themselves of the disaster that was occurring, both limb as well as property damage, and it was something that you would never forget. So we hope that never happens again, and I hope that we're much better prepared than we would ever be in the past.